Hi everyone, and welcome to the show. This is Going Over Wrestling with me, your host Ross. Today we're talking Raw from the 24th of March 2014, and to help me do so, I'm joined by my kayfabe brother John. So, Raw kicks off with Steph coming out to cut a promo here.
Yeah, so Stephanie's coming out to open the show. It's Triple H's turn last week, so, it has to be her turn this week.
Randy Orton comes out, he urges Stephanie not to let Triple H enter the main event. Batista finally comes out, cuts a promo about how he's going to be the winner at Mania. He starts saying that Randy Orton is sucking up to Stephanie here, and then he starts making references to the fact that she's been drilled on before, to which she eventually slaps him.
You would think that Big Dave, knowing that spot's coming, would have taken his sunnies off, or at least put them on the top of his head.
No, he gets slapped square in the rim of the sunglass. The segment ends with Randy Orton laughing at Batista for being slapped, and Batista hits him with a spear.
Yeah, really nothing much to this segment at all. Just trying to put over the triple threat at WrestleMania, because now we know we're guaranteed to get one, and this is just playing up that Stephanie's basically saying that Triple H is going to beat Daniel Bryan and win the title.
Wasn't a fan of this segment in general, to be honest with you.
Me either.
So the first match of this episode of Raw is Christian versus Sheamus versus Del Rio versus Ziggler, and the winner gets to face Biggie Langston for the Intercontinental belt at the main event.
Yeah, and the best thing about this match was the fact that they had Big E on commentary, but he was sitting in front of the commentators, which was probably his best performance at commentary that I've seen.
Certainly put in a better commentary shift than Jerry King Lawler does.
That's not saying much.
So Sheamus is on the outside with Ziggler on the inside. Del Rio comes over to hit a springboard kick and misses. He gets his foot caught in the top rope. Ziggler and Sheamus just sort of ignore him as he's lying on the ground.
Ziggler eventually just reacted and started attacking him while he was lying on the ground, rather than them going straight back to the spot where it would have made it look even worse.
It just looks so indie when you just repeat the spot straight away.
Yeah, it does.
The finish of the match is actually quite good. Del Rio has an armbar on Sheamus. Sheamus picks him up to go for a powerbomb. As he's got him up to go for the powerbomb, Dolph Ziggler appears behind, hits zigzag, but he can't capitalise because as soon as he hits that, he gets kill switch landed on him. Christian picks up the win.
I was going to say, during that match, I actually quite enjoyed that match, I've got to say, even though there was the Del Rio thing, and the ending though, I liked that. I was going to call that spot of the night. Ziggler should have won off the zigzag rather than getting countered into the kill switch. I think that would have been spot of the night, so for me it wasn't, and it'll be something a bit later on.
It started off quite bland, but the closing segments of the match were really quite good. So up next we've got a Wyatt promo. Not much here, just pretty much calling out Cena.
That's right, and he's going to end Cena's legacy, and the commentators are trying to put over that Cena's concerned that his legacy is going to be ended by the Wyatts, but I'm hoping this is leading to Bray Wyatt actually winning at WrestleMania and not Cena beating him, because I don't think that would prove anything.
So next match up is Damien Sandow taking on Sin Cara. This is basically just an advert for the Scooby-Doo WrestleMania Mystery DVD.
And that's right, because they came out with the Mystery Machine, and Scooby-Doo came out as well, didn't they?
So match starts, the match finishes, Sin Cara wins.
I know that they're still going for the authentic Mexico gimmick by dimming the lights, but I find it really distracting. It was okay to start with, but now it sort of annoys me with that sort of pale yellow light that they put over it.
When I want to watch Lucha Libre wrestling, I watch AAA or CMLL. I don't need to watch one Sin Cara match.
Exactly.
But yeah, the match itself, I've actually timed it as 1 minute 10 seconds.
Yeah, so
Damien Sandow utterly buried here. So next up we've got a recap of what happened on SmackDown. Kane, the Outlaws, the Real Americans, Ryback and Axel all working over the Shield.
It did telegraph right enough that the match that they were going to have at WrestleMania set up was the Outlaws and Kane versus the members of the Shield, but at least it gives them something to do and it's not the Battle Royal. But the thing about the SmackDown clips that they showed, because there was a couple of times through the show that they showed SmackDown clips, which I thought was a good idea, because it's like pushing SmackDown more as being something that you don't want to miss.
Stuff actually happens on SmackDown.
Yeah, so I think that's a good move by WWE.
So playing the footage of what happened to the Shield plays into the next match on the card, which is the Matadors taking on Ryback and Axel. There's absolutely no reason for the Matadors to be involved here. Axel is distracted with the Shield making their way through the crowd, and he gets hit with a schoolboy for the 3 count. There's absolutely no need for this to be a match. You could just even have the team of Ryback come out to the ring to face someone, but don't actually bring them out, and the Shield just come out and attack them anyway. That
would have served a better purpose, because the thing from SmackDown was that Ryback will get a tag team title shot out of it, so do the Real Americans, and the 3-man band I think got to be in the Andre Memorial Battle Royal. So what a prize for them. And I think it didn't really serve much of a purpose. It would have been better if we had Ryback coming out to start their match, as you say, and then the Shield just came out and destroyed them. That would have been better, I think.
So next up we've got the Triple H sit down chat with Michael Cole.
Yeah, there's no better place to have a sit down interview than in the middle of the ring. I mean, do they not have their interview that's on WWE.com every week?
Basically Triple H puts himself over and he states that he'll end Bryan and end this Yes movement. Triple H threatens to start the reality era, which, if they're not already started, be pushing Total Divas every week.
I suppose so, but and of course they've got Legends House, haven't they, on the WWE Network, so...
He states here as well that he has the power to make himself exit Mania as the champion. Now, when I was watching this, I took this as a dig at sort of the smarks, as he would call them.
Yeah, it may very well be. I didn't really notice it as much until you had mentioned it to me off air.
Yeah.
I just thought that he was talking about just the fans in general, but I think with the wording that he's done, then that's definitely what it is. It's a dig at the internet wrestling community that think he's trying to say, you think you know what the main event,
the booking plans is going to be.
Yeah, but I can change them because I've got the power to do so, which I suppose is, to make it more debatable what the finish and outcome is going to be at WrestleMania. As I've said over the last few weeks, that I still have faith that WWE will do the right thing and have Daniel Bryan end WrestleMania as the World Heavyweight Champion.
So next match on this episode of Raw is Cody taking on Fandango. So nothing really to the match. The main spot is Goldust is dancing on the outside with Summer Rae until she goes over on her ankle. This is enough to distract Fandango in the ring, who ends up getting disaster kicked, and Cody picks up the win.
I was talking to you about this, I think it was last week off air when we were saying about Fandango, and I was thinking that Fandango seems to be as if he's going to be suffering from the old Mark Morrow syndrome, which is where the girl he's with gets over better than he does.
Yep.
And he'll end up getting buried because of it, but it's a strange one. But it seemed to be the focus of this match was Summer Rae. Last week's match as well seemed to be the focus was Summer Rae, with Fandango losing to tease another breakup. I mean, I hope not. I mean, we've got about 55 of them ongoing at the moment, that's kind of what it seems like, that she's costing them victories.
On commentary here as well, JBL makes a reference that Summer Rae went over on her heel and Fandango is a heel.
That's some gentle comedy, dude.
Okay, so next up we've got the Hogan segment. I know you've been looking forward to this segment all week.
Yeah, this was, well, to be fair, the celebrity segments usually are quite embarrassingly bad, but at least Big Arnie was okay.
So Hogan brings out Joe Magnola and Arnold Schwarzenegger to promote the film that's coming out with a minute. Arnold Schwarzenegger asks Hogan if there's a spot for two more people who'd be in the Battle Royal, referencing him and Joe.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody bought that they were actually going to be in that match, but this led to Miz, now in Jobber Vision, coming out. Yep,
the Miz comes out and basically tells them that they're make-believe hard men in their movies and he's a real-life hard man. He ends up trying to punch Joe blocks it, punches him back, Schwarzenegger punches him, Hogan throws him over the top rope.
To signify that he's not got a chance of winning the Andre Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania.
Another segment with no point to it though.
It definitely
basically was just an advert for a film.
That's exactly what it was, yeah.
Next match up then, we've got Titus taking on the Big Show. Big Show picks up the win with a knockout punch.
Yeah, they gave Titus a bit more offense in this match than I was expecting when I saw him coming out. I was thinking that it's more of the raw deal for Titus O'Neil, but he did get some offense in before being knocked clean out, so yeah, there wasn't anything to this match either. Yeah,
so we'll get the Shield backstage paying a visit to Stephanie and Triple H. They're given a match later on in the show with the Real Americans. After this, we've got another backstage segment with John Cena in the bathroom psyching himself up for his match with Luke Harper. So he's in front of the mirror, he's splashing water on his face, and we get the sheep's mask appear in the mirror behind him. All I could think of when I was watching this segment was that time back in Nitro with Hogan and the Warrior in the mirror.
Yeah, it's exactly the same as the Hogan and the Warrior mirror, and what the problem with this idea in total is that means that all the fans were hallucinating, not just Cena.
Yeah.
It was every fan that was watching on TV and in the arena that's seen the segment, they were also hallucinating and seeing the sheep mask, so it's just beyond stupid.
Cool idea for a horror film, not for a wrestling show.
Yeah, not for something where you're supposed to suspend your disbelief until you get things like that, and the fans were calling bullshit when it went back to them.
Okay, so we have said Cena Luke Harper match up next. So there's massive pops for Luke Harper throughout the match, basically booing everything Cena does and cheering for everything that Harper does in the match.
Let's go Harper chants were going through the match.
Luke Harper during the match actually hits quite a nice Michinoku driver.
Really been impressed with Luke Harper. For a big guy, he's really mobile and pretty athletic.
Unfortunately though, Harper goes for a powerbomb and Cena counters it into a Hurricane Rana, but this looks very sloppy. So Luke Harper's got the upper hand for most of the match. Cena goes to end the match with hitting the AA, but as soon as he gets him up onto the shoulders, the lights go out.
Yeah, but when the lights came back on and you had Cena tied up in the ropes with the sheep mask on, I thought it was a really cool visual to end on, and it's something that they can push, and I'm pretty sure it will be in their video packages for the next few weeks anyway until WrestleMania.
Next match we've got AJ Lee taking on Jean-Pierre Lafitte.
That's right, the pirate.
Pretty much a nothing affair with AJ storming out of the match when Naomi gets some upper hand. So she storms out, walks up the ramp to get herself purposely counted out, so she retains her belt. So Vicky Guerrero comes out.
Yeah, so they were playing up on the angle on SmackDown where AJ had some choice words for Vicky, although unfortunately, as I noticed noticed while watching it, when it cut to the ring while she was making these comments on commentary on SmackDown, that actually showed the announcer's table with AJ sort of sitting back and not saying anything. So it was obviously something added in post-production because they had this idea come up.
So the other point of Vicky Guerrero coming out here as well is to call AJ a bitch, and she makes a match at Mania, which will be AJ taking on Naomi, taking on Cameron, taking on Natalya, in fact taking on all the divas.
Yeah, and they didn't specify what type of match it was, whether it was a gauntlet or a battle royal, because you can never have too many battle royals on a show.
It's Vicky Guerrero's Divas Championship Invitational. Take it that means whatever they just decide come the night of WrestleMania for how long they've got to fill.
I just hope beyond hope it's not a battle royal, because battle royals traditionally do suck, and having two of them would be overkill.
Yeah, so our main event of the night is the Shield taking on the Real Americans. The Shield tag team that they're using is Ambrose and Rollins.
Yeah, and you were making a good point off air, because I was saying that they had done the same in SmackDown with Rollins and Ambrose being the tag team.
Yep.
You were saying you think it's probably because they're keeping Roman Reigns, he's the singles guy, and they're trying to make a point of that, and I agree. I think that's probably what they are doing here.
The match itself is pretty good. I know obviously there's not much to choose from, but this was a good match.
Yeah, this was a good draw match.
So the lead up to your spot of the night, Cesaro charges at Rollins. Rollins hits a monkey flip to send him to the outside. He throws Swagger out on the opposite side of the ring.
Yeah, so then he does a suicide dive onto Cesaro and then jumps back in the ring and does a somersault plancha onto the top of Jack Swagger on the other side, and that wins my spot of the night for this night of Raw.
It was really cool. And the finish comes when Rollins hits Swagger with an enziguri followed by the curb stomp to get the 3 count.
The curb stomp's always impressive, so as far as matches went, there wasn't one better than that one on the show.
Now, slim pickings for good matches on this episode, that's for sure. Okay, so after the bell, Cesaro sneaks back into the ring and attacks Rollins, only to turn around and get Superman punched by Reigns, and Reigns hits a spear on him on the outside. The Shield take him over to the table and hit a triple powerbomb through the table.
Yeah.
So after this, Kane comes out with the New Age suits.
Yeah.
The New Age Outlaws in some pretty choice looking suits, and Kane states that there will be a match at WrestleMania featuring the Shield versus the New Age Outlaws and Kane.
It was, as I said, telegraphed in SmackDown that was the direction that they were going in, but at least it's another match on WrestleMania that they can promote.
So that was the main event of the night, but not the final segment. The final segment is when Heyman and Lesnar come out to address the Undertaker situation. Heyman again putting over the streak and how impressive it is. Lesnar takes the mic off him and I'm thinking, oh god, Lesnar, don't speak.
Yeah, because I was thinking he's going to say something along the lines of that he's not going to drink a Budweiser, he's going to drink a Coors like he did a few years ago in the UFC, and he really got himself into some hot water with the advertisers.
Yeah, that's right. But no, he says that he's sick of playing games and he knows Undertaker's in the building, so Undertaker, bring your ass out here and we'll do this right now.
Yeah.
So the lights go off, the Druids come out bringing out a casket to ringside.
I was thinking Lesnar's ending up in this casket when I saw them bringing that out.
Yeah.
Say.
So Lesnar opens the casket to find that it's emptied. Lesnar's fed up with the games here, so he chases the Druids up the ramp. I was thinking as well, is Undertaker going to be one of the Druids?
Yeah, I was thinking that as well, but no, he wasn't. But we did get to hear, it sounded like maybe Kevin Dunn saying watch the leg round about this point.
So obviously Undertaker getting into position.
Yeah.
When Lesnar makes his way back to the ring, he shuts the casket lid, gets back in the ring, and then we get the casket lid opening and Undertaker coming out of the casket.
Yeah.
So when he finally gets his hands on Lesnar in the ring, he gets the upper hand and clotheslines Lesnar over the top rope and over the casket.
Yeah, so like I was saying, I was thinking that the lid would maybe have been kept up here for Brock to land in the casket.
Yeah.
But he didn't end up in the casket. As far as final segments go, again, like last week's problem, I think this one was overly long as well. It seemed to take a long time to get anywhere with this segment.
When it finally got where it was going, it was nothing.
It was nothing, and again Undertaker comes out on top over Brock, and
It's twice now.
that's twice in a row, so there's a good chance that
This could be it for the go home for this segment.
exactly, and they haven't shown Undertaker in any danger at all, so
Yeah.
it seems a strange way to build up the match, because let's face it, everybody knows Undertaker's winning this match.
So I was going to say, everybody knows Taker's winning this match, so you've got to at least have the two Raws leading up to it with Lesnar getting the upper hand.
Exactly.
You've got to build. Christ, yeah, Undertaker might be in some trouble here, but he's not. He's put Lesnar through a table and clotheslined him over a casket. I'm not worried for the streak.
No, I'm not worried for the streak either.
Yeah, overall, I don't rate this Raw at all. It wasn't very good. There's a lot of throwaway matches. It's like 3 matches on the card were a minute or just over a minute.
It seemed to be mostly filler and not enough killer. That's what I would say about this Raw. The main event segments, the ones with Stephanie at the beginning of the show and Triple H in the middle of the show, I didn't really like them particularly much. They didn't really seem to serve any particular purpose. Triple H's one was a little bit better than Stephanie's because Stephanie's not involved in that match. The Triple H at least was putting himself over. Stephanie doesn't need to come out and do it for him at the beginning of the show, but the Authority has to be all over TV. As I said earlier, I think that the main event with Heyman, pretty much his promo was the same as his one just a couple of weeks back.
Yep.
And the segment seemed to drag a long time before Undertaker and Brock got physical, and even at that, it wasn't that great. All in all, I would say that the 3 matches that I enjoyed aren't enough to save it, so unfortunately I'm going to have to give this one a thumbs down. I think that this one really did suffer from what we hoped they would do last week, which is give Daniel Bryan the week off.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it suffered because of it, but it's good that they kept him off because he did sell the beating. Just unfortunate Triple H and Stephanie couldn't get the main event over as much as Daniel Bryan could. So what did you think about this episode?
Yeah, well, the 3 main segments then. Stephanie's segment at the start, opening Raw, I wasn't into it at all. Triple H's segment in the middle, yeah, it was better, but it was just a lot of Triple H putting himself over, which, you know, I had the 90s and early parts of 2000s for him doing the very same thing. And the last segment at the end here with Heyman and Lesnar, like you said, Heyman pretty much recycling the promo he done from a few weeks back about the streak, and Undertaker coming out on top again. So yeah, the 3 main segments I was not a fan of. The Shield vs the Americans was quite good, but not enough to save this episode of Raw. So that's going to do it for this episode then. Thanks for listening. See you later.
Bye.